Italy looks set to unload a row in the EU following weeks of openly defying officials in Brussels above its top spending budgeting plans. Italy had rejected to shift on its plans to shelf up a deficiency of 2.4% of gross domestic product. In an unparalleled go, the Europe Committee said Italy to reconsider its budgeting and transactions in its obligation heap. Vice Main Secretary Luigi Di Maio told on Monday his by the government might be readily to bring the deficiency goal to end the confrontation. When, for the negotiations trial, the deficiency has to be diminished a bit, how's not a big transactions, Mr. Di Maio told. Italy's project budgeting contains costly measures for representing a guarantee main revenue of on €780, £700, for impoverished families, and increase the resignation year. By the government proclaimed its budgeting measures would late poverty reduction. This essential item is how not one man misses out on the incorporated measures, Mr. Di Maio added. The obvious changing of reason accompanied a weekend meet in Brussels among Italian Main Secretary Giuseppe Conte and Europe Committee CEO Jean-Claude Juncker. Italian print were on Monday night accountability how the deficiency could be crossed of 2.4% to 2.2% of GDP, but by the government source cited by Reuters offered the deficiency could be diminished to as low as 2%. The revelations induced steak prices in Milan to hover time a strongly monitored action of economical confusion in Italy. The distribution among Italian and Deutsche ties prices bring down to 280 points among consumer expectations of a solution to the meltdown. A meet to talk the detailed information was planned for Monday night. But it was not precise how any reducing in conducting would be financed if key poll promises done by the governing Narodnik League and 5 celebrity parties remained pristine. Nor was it specific how the changes would be quite to meet the Europe Committee. Matteo Salvini, the collaborative vice PM and lead of the League, had already hinted at changing on Saturday. Proverb, not one is jammed at a particular quantity for the deficiency. Giuseppe Conte said Italy's ANSA news story agent I do not say on decimals, and reasoned it was more than essential to evaluate the broad economical effect of the offered reforms. Fines by how order could begin at 0.2% of Italy's whole GDP, that would action in the billions of euros. The cause for Europe's anxiety is how time Italy is the tertiary largest economics in the Eurozone, in a GDP of more than rather than €2 billion, it as well has a big sum of obligation. Eurozone rules say how countries should both uphold their deficiency to less than rather than 3% of GDP, that Italy's plans do, but as well hold domestic obligation to 60% of GDP or less than. Lot countries surpass how obligation range out of any activity creature undertaken. But at nearly 132% of gross domestic product, Italy has the other highest bet in the bloc. While Brussels acquired Italy's project budgeting, it told the nation's failure to transactions in its obligation and substantially threefold the planned deficiency was inappropriate. Italy, meantime, kept how invest was necessary to bootstart the slow Italian economics and bring the affliction of its countrymen.